So let's dive in. I'm breaking down each section. We'll go through each one and fill in the details for you so that you have a good understanding. So we're going to start with nutrient insufficiency. So if you look at the left, it's nice and bold. We're going to go into nutrients. I want you to understand something about nutrition. If we look at the field of biochemistry, basically it equates to nutrition. All of the known factors involving autoimmune disease are affected by nutrition. This is why it's so alarming that so many doctors don't have this conversation with their patients. Nutrition is the crux of how your body heals and repairs. Take this quote from the Guyton Medical Textbook of Physiology. Each of the 100 trillion cells in the human being is a living structure that can survive indefinitely, and in most instances can even reproduce itself provided its surrounding fluids contain appropriate nutrients. Key word there, nutrients. Now, nutrition in the immune system is critical, and remember, autoimmune disease is an immune system that is, some would argue that it's an immune system that's overreacting or attacking the body, but I would really say your immune system doesn't make mistakes. Your immune system becomes dysregulated because it doesn't have the right nutrients to help it understand how to behave properly. It's kind of like parenting. You can have a kid that runs amok if he's got really horrible parents. You've been somewhere, you've been out to a restaurant where that was the case, you've been out in public where that was the case. Well, think of nutrients as the parents of your immune cells. And if you lack healthy amounts of good nutrients, your immune cells will misbehave and they'll run amok and they'll create a heightened sense of inflammation throughout your body. If you look at this diagram from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, I love it because it so beautifully expresses how the immune system plays a role in your body's regulation against everything, right? Because we look at the environment, look at the storm clouds above, the microorganisms, the parasites, the malignant cells that are cancerous, the allergens, the environmental toxins, all coming. Those are all coming. That never quits. Throughout your life, those things are always going to be coming at you. But you look at the umbrella of your immune system, the skin, the mucosal immunity, the specialized functions like lysozymes and phagocytes and immunoglobulins or antibodies. And then you have cell-mediated immunity and complement immunity and chemicals like interferon. And all these things are part of the weapons of your immune system's ability to protect you from the environment, from the constant barrage of the environment. But guess what regulates that umbrella? Vitamins and minerals. That's why they're so crucial. Because when you don't have adequate nutrients, that umbrella, those different systems that build that umbrella in that image don't function properly, and now your umbrella has leaks in it. And when it has leaks in it, all those environmental storm pieces come flooding through into your body. Here's just one example. Now, I mean, we could talk literally for days about all the different types of examples, but I want to give you one example of how one nutrient plays a major immunoregulatory role. You see here vitamin D deficiency and decreased exposure to solar UVB radiation have been demonstrated to increase the risks of many common cancers. And then we get into type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and multiple sclerosis. What's the theme there? Type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and MS are autoimmune conditions. Cancer is end-stage autoimmune disease. If nobody's ever told you that, maybe this is the first time you're hearing it, but cancer is what happens when you've had an autoimmune process gone rogue long enough that your body can no longer keep up. But vitamin D deficiency is linked to those conditions. Look at the diagram to the right. You'll notice vitamin D, and if you look at that third box kind of in the middle underneath 125-OHD biologically active, you'll see there immunomodulatory effects. We'll blow in up on that for you. Notice multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, and periodontal disease, all linked to not adequate or to inadequate vitamin D status. Vitamin D is the one example I'm giving you here that without it, your immune system becomes dysregulated. Now, do other nutrients play a role in that? Absolutely. Zinc plays a role in immunoregulation. selenium plays a role, copper, B vitamins play a role, but this is my point. The nutrients, without them, your immune system is lost. It doesn't know how to behave properly. It doesn't know how to regulate. It can't regulate things as well, and it makes you more susceptible to the development of autoimmunity. So if you've got a diagnosis of autoimmune disease and your doctors haven't done nutrient testing, that's step one. You really need that part done as quickly as possible. So where do we get nutrients? Essential nutrients from food. These are the fundamental building blocks of the body: vitamins, minerals, carbs, fats, proteins, nucleic acids, and water are the key nutrients that we get from food. One deficiency can inhibit the healing process. The average autoimmune patient has at least 4. I've got data going back almost 25 years on nutritional studies in autoimmune cases where we've been documenting this for a long time. Minimum 4, oftentimes many more even than that. The vitamin D, B12, zinc, water, and omega-3 are probably the top that we see, clinically speaking. For most nutrients, serum testing has limited value. Not for all, but for most. And I'll give you a list here in just a moment. We also know that gut function problems must be ruled out because one of the causes of nutritional deficiency is gut inflammation. If your gut's broken or inflamed and your digestion and absorption aren't working properly, you're going to be more prone to nutritional deficiency. Therefore, ergo, you're going to be more prone to the development of autoimmune conditions because nutrients regulate the immune system's reactions. Let's take a look at this next slide. You're going to see that water is a nutrient, oftentimes ignored, right? People talk about drink more water, but what about the quality of the water, how it's filtered, whether it's RO? But water is very, very important. It's one of the primary nutrients that the body needs to sustain life. It regulates the viscosity of your blood flow. It ensures that your blood can carry nutrients effectively to all of your tissues. So if you're dehydrated or you're under drinking, you can't detox as well, you can't move fluids around as well, you can't move oxygen around as well, and then your energy production suffers. And when energy production goes down, healing goes down. When you can't make adequate energy, cellularly speaking, your body struggles to heal and repair and maintain itself. Oxygen, we need that. Now that's all around us, and most people aren't deficient in oxygen per se. They can develop nutritional anemias that reduce their ability to deliver oxygen to their cells. For example, one of the top nutritional deficiencies that we see, especially with people with gluten issues and autoimmunity, is iron. Iron deficiency causes anemia, and that very anemia can lead to reduced oxygen carriage to your tissues. This makes it very challenging for your body to generate adequate energy. It can lead to, aside from the kind of the classic anemia, we've got fatigue, shortness of breath, brain fog, muscle aches and muscle pains, stiffness, trouble sleeping. Anemia is a big one, and oxygen plays a role in that, and nutrients play a role in how oxygen is delivered. Iron, zinc, copper, vitamin C, vitamin E, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and folate all play a role in making red blood cells and maturing them so that they're capable of carrying that oxygen to your tissue. The other thing that's important is sunshine. People don't consider sunshine a nutrient. I do. I think sun is arguably one of the most powerful medicines in the world that also is underutilized. We have a sunshine phobia currently going on in our culture where even yesterday, I was in the clinic, and a patient was telling me how their dermatologist had told them, absolutely avoid the sun at all costs, no matter what. I'm like, what century is that doctor in? You need sunshine. Aside from sunshine being, one of the main sources of vitamin D production by the body, you need sunshine to make melatonin. You need sunshine for your mitochondria to run efficiently. Sun is so critical as a form of medicine, and it's so feared. The analogy I like to use, water can kill you, water can drown you, but we don't quit drinking it for fear of drowning. Well, sunshine can burn you, and it can cause cancer if you burn your skin repetitively. But generally, intelligent sunshine consumption without burning, get sunshine to the tolerance of your skin on a regular basis without burning, is healthy. It's safe, and it's medicine. Don't forget it. And remember what I showed you earlier about vitamin D and multiple sclerosis and rheumatoid arthritis and psoriasis and type 1 diabetes. It's directly linked to an increased risk for those autoimmune conditions. And where do you get your vitamin D? You get it from sunshine and fatty animal-based foods. The other thing we have to consider here around nutrients is medicine. Now, a lot of you are like, what do you mean medicine? Medicine is not nutrients. You're right, it isn't. But medicine causes nutritional deficiency. Take a look at this book. This is one of the medical texts. This copy's been around for over 20 years. It's called the Drug-Induced Nutrient Depletion Handbook, written by pharmacists. And it's another topic, unfortunately, that doctors dismiss. In medical school, it's not taught. This is not a textbook handed out to first-year interns, and they're not told to study it. They're not told that, hey, you need to understand the consequence of the medicine that you're going to prescribe nutritionally. But drugs cause vitamin and mineral deficiencies. There are about 5 textbooks medically written on this topic. I own them all. And this topic is one I think is very important because we use so many medicines in our society today. And kind of a classic example of drugs that cause nutrition deficiency, well, one is just birth control pills. Ladies, if you've ever been on them, they can deplete folate and vitamin B2 and magnesium. We know that statin drugs for cholesterol can block CoQ10, a critical nutrient for energy health. We know that diabetic medication can inhibit vitamin B12 and folate and CoQ10. We know that many common medications, even pain medications, can block vitamin C and iron and folate. So if you're on medicine, or if you've been on medicine for any great length of time, this is a conversation you should be looking to have with your prescribing doctor. They may not know the answer, but you should still engage in the conversation. And even if your doctor doesn't have an answer, you should engage in the investigative research to understand what nutrients that your medications are depleting. Because if you're not correcting those, you could create bigger problems for yourself down the road. Drug-induced nutrient deficiency is a very, very common problem, and I see it on a daily basis in my clinic. So here's a little diagram to kind of maybe take a screenshot of. This is an action step that you can do. If you're on a medicine prescribed that has no nutrient depleting qualities, you want to follow up with your doctor. Ideally, ask your doctor for nutritional testing. Now, many doctors don't have that training and will dismiss you. One of the things you can do if you want to get tested is we actually offer testing, intracellular nutrient analysis testing, online direct to you. We'll put a link up below this video for you if you want to read more about how you can get your vitamin and mineral levels checked. But it should be done if you're on medications. It should be something that you're monitoring. And depending on what you're deficient in, you should consider supplementation as a secondary element to help your body, right? To prevent the deficiencies that might lead to other problems. It's my recommendation that you do that twice a year. The lab testing on this can be done. It's not hard to do. It's a simple blood draw, and twice a year gives you a good indicator of how you can change up your diet and your supplementation to accommodate what your body's needs are.